For once, I echoed something Antoine Murphy said. Who could have seen that one coming?
Yeah, none of us said that.
No. I said I had a lot of him, more than the field. That's a quote.
Who said that? Who is he saying that said they would get blown out? I said the Clippers. I bet the Clippers money line.
I was Team Suns, that's for sure. Including talking to Ben about it during the game, being like, "Yo, I really like this in-game line," and then he bet it like 6 times, and they still got creamed.
That's the worst when you chase an in-game line and it keeps going against you. Oh yeah. You learned that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, welcome to the Awesemo.com NBA Live Before Lock, where we bash DeMarcus Cousins and tell everybody not to play him. Oh, yeah. I will get to that in just a moment. And I pray that all of you rewind the tape and listen to exactly what was said. But first, I'm Dave Loughran. This show is sponsored by No House Advantage. Hit me up on the Twitters at Loughy_D, LOUGHY_D, and say hi to my pal Josh Engleman while you're over there. Getting a bit of an early start today, running this one a little bit long, talking Atlanta, Milwaukee. What's going on, pal?
Not too much, man. Good day. It's been a good day. Somebody just asked me on Twitter, what happens if Trae Young is out? I was just like, I don't know, play the Bucks bench. They're going to get cracked, man. It's going to be bad, but I am not making that assumption for right now. He's out on the floor for the tip. Whether he makes it from the tip is a different story, but
we're
Trae Young's foot would have to get sawed off like saw, I guess, for him to not be out there.
We're going to talk about that a lot today. Okongwu said that Young took part in the Hawks. I'm just glad the backup center is the one relaying this information. Yeah. Took part in morning walkthrough, shoot around ahead of Tuesday's game with the Bucks and is looking good. Mike Conti of the Atlanta Hawks radio network reports, but who the hell knows, right?
Sorry, I was reading Antoine Murphy say that he doesn't like me, but he's objective and that he knows that I was over the field on Boogie, so I appreciate that.
Let's just get into it. We got plenty of time.
Yeah, something, Okongwu, Trae Young, I don't know.
Let's get into it. Resist the NWO 1. Okay. Which, all right. I think he has to be trolling. Because he,
I don't know, man. 52% of people think that they should trade that RJ Barrett has more trade value than Ben Simmons. So
I knew that.
What are we doing here?
I knew that would get you. As a massive Ben Simmons critic, he is objectively worth far more on the trade market than RJ Barrett. And someone goes, I saw someone comment, yeah, what about age? Ben's 24 years old.
Yeah. It's look, like I agreed with it was Jesse. So like I had some agreements with what, like, it's not that I hate RJ Barrett, but we're talking about a guy that's been like, +2 and plus minus for over multiple 4 seasons. Like he's been worth like 35 wins in the NBA up till the fact that he's 24. These are not the same things.
Okay. I feel like sometimes when we do shows, it can be dangerous, right? I know it's free content, but things are getting taken out of context at times. And I don't care what's said in chat. I welcome you to say whatever you want, as long as it's not, I don't care if it's offensive, as long as it's not racist or anything like that. Go to town. I can handle it. So can Josh. I promise you. But I don't want people to be misled by only hearing one thing and not hearing the full, not getting a full grasp of what's being said. So, Josh, let me just a PSA real quick. Okay. Resist the NWO. And he must be trolling. He must be like, maybe they'll read this comment. I hope there's no berating fans when they disagree with garbage takes like not taking Boogie. That was tough to stomach last night. I projected him for 11 minutes. He played 11 minutes, 11:15 to be exact. B, we both said definitively that he is now the best value play on DraftKings, right?
Yeah.
Good play on DraftKings, not good for teams really anymore. Was he +6? Did they get the win? Yeah, sure. It's awesome. But the guy wasn't playing at all in this series. I don't know how much further I can go with this, and I really don't want to spend time on it because it's just wearing me out. But there's been so many comments about, like, how do you not like Boogie? What I said is he plays 11 to 13 minutes. Specifically, I said 11. But even at 11 minutes, DeMarcus Cousins has enough upside to be easily the best value play at $1,000 on DraftKings. Go back, watch it again. Because if you missed that, I'm sorry to tell you, you're only listening to a little bit. That's all. That's all I had to say.
Yeah. Look, I said that I was going to be over the field, or at least I was going to try to be over the field on Boogie. I believe I had 85%. I could go back and check if I really needed to. He was in my cash lineup. Like, it was, to me, playing him was a no-brainer. The fact that I liked him in DFS and the fact that I think he sucks in real life are two things that have nothing to do with each other.
Right. There are a lot of players that aren't particularly good for their team that are great for fantasy.
Yeah.
There was a time where Tony Roten was like the best value play every single game the Sixers stepped on the floor. You remember that?
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. At the same time, you could probably roster Henry Sims for 3,500 and get some stats too. Like, sometimes it's all about opportunity in these cases.
That's all. That's all.
Like, Lou Will stinks now. He's not very good. If Trae Young happened to be out, Lou Will's the best play on the slate. It doesn't make him better at basketball. It just makes him get more minutes.
Yeah. And Manny, the only reason I pay attention is because I don't want people to get the wrong impression. When we do these shows, I want you to hear everything we're saying. Yeah. I think people almost take personal offense to some of these takes. Like, oh, how could you not? He's one of my favorite players. I've loved the guy. But look, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And I'm not sure there's any helping you. But we're happy to have everybody here. That's all that matters. Watching the show here on a Tuesday night. Hopefully you played DeMarcus Cousins on DraftKings at $1,000 though. Okay. Like, and I imagine you don't need this show for that. Here were the differences. One, I said, we said there's no way he plays 20, 25 minutes. He's not going to start. We get a ton of things wrong. It's just the nature of the beast here at DFS. I don't think we got a single thing wrong with DeMarcus Cousins last night.
No, I think we couldn't have set that one up better. And like, I don't think that it was a hot take either. To me, it was pretty, like, that was just sort of what had to happen.
We didn't say anything special. No, anyone should have gotten that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't think we're any more right than like everyone else. We just happen to be the people saying it on the most watched DFS show that you can get for NBA.
Yep. But like I said, go back and watch. Take a second. Go back and watch. It's best value play on DraftKings. That's all. Anyway, hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so. If you forgot, that's all right. I know we got started a little bit earlier tonight. Try and give you as much free content as we can. And we're here to do it again for tonight. Milwaukee Bucks in Atlanta. So let's get that up to 200 if we could. That'd be awesome to start this off. We got over 700 people watching, so I don't think that's that tough. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. We appreciate all you guys hanging out with us every day. What are you thinking? What are you laughing at?
Well, a lot of people are like, who cares? Move on. Here's my question to you. How long do you think we could talk about just DeMarcus Cousins before the viewership line on the graph drops down? Because I think it's at least a half hour.
I don't know. The strategy show, we've gone really long time.
Yeah.
A really long time, and it just kept climbing.
Part of me just wants to keep doing it. Like, well, when you look back at his Kentucky stats, I'll do whatever, man.
Where did he get the name Boogie?
Yeah. Did he pick his nose once? Hold on. Let's see if we can find any contacts from his middle school.
Let's talk about the series.
Boogie.
What's that?
So let's talk about Boogie.
Talk about the series review. Settle down, everybody. We're getting there. Don't worry.
If we can't hit on this in the next 55 minutes, man, I promise you we'll get there.
Double R with the super chat. Dave, you know us Southeastern PA guys don't care what other people think. For sure. I'm just trying to help people understand like what was said and not what they think was said. That's kind of important. That's all. Let's go. All right. Laffy ate an edible. No, that would not go well for me. Not on this show.
I wish I did.
What?
I wish I did.
Yeah. Looking at this series, just a little bit of a rewind here. We start each show off with this. And Melissa, I'd like to know the name of the first girl Boogie kissed. Yeah, maybe we can find that too. I don't know. We just start digging, fellas and ladies. Milwaukee's up 2-1. Game one was one of those spots where even I slipped into it for a second, Josh. I was like, man, Okay, maybe Atlanta's got some magic on their side, right? This is a resilient club here. Go 7 with Philly, knock them off, go into Milwaukee, take game 1. Whew. But then I'd say at this point I was wrong because Milwaukee decided to show up. Chris Middleton decided to show up, and they're up 2-1 with 2. One was a definitive win. At no point was it competitive. The second game, to be fair, to credit the Hawks, was very close until Chris Middleton midway through the fourth just started knocking down every single shot. But they have a 2-1 lead going back to Atlanta today, and they're touchdown favorites on the road. So it kind of tells you what you need to know about how this game should play out.
Yeah, look, I have a hard time expecting anything to happen other than
Trae's
Milwaukee.
Out.
Shut up.
I swear. Whoa. Hit that line if it's still out there.
Yeah. If you're betting on anything, go take Lou Will scoring props as fast as you can. Get the Bucks as fast as you can. Bogdanovich overs are probably looking pretty tasty right about now.
Fuck, it's off. I caught it like 30 seconds too late.
Well,
that would have been huge.
I'll have answers in 10 minutes of where I am actually at, but holy shiz.
All right. Well, this is huge news. Yeah. Yes. I wish I wasn't doing that show. I would have laid a fat one on the Milwaukee spread right there, and pretty much anything else I could get to, but usually you only have time for one.
That Laffy doesn't even want to be here.
Well, that's not true. That's
what I just heard.
Dylan, he said, glad you wasted 10 minutes on Boogie. Anything you said would have been useless, pretty much. Yeah, we do that a whole lot. We got still a whole hour to break this down, so we're in good shape. But what would you, before it comes back, what do you put the line at now? And I ask you this for a very specific reason, right? Because
what was it so I could think about it? 7.5 or 7?
It was 7.
Or 6. Okay.
It was 7.5 in some spots, 7, whatever you want, right? Yeah. The reason I ask this is because there is very much so an impact from certain players being out. If Clint Capella's out, maybe it moves it a little bit, whatever. If Drew Holiday's out, it moves it a little bit. If Giannis is out, or in this case, Trae Young is out, it should move it dramatically, Josh, because this is the engine that moves this vehicle known as the Atlanta Hawks. And I don't necessarily know how they can keep this game even remotely competitive. If they do, a round of applause for the Hawks, but this could move to like 12.
So my first thought was that it moves like 2.5 points. So if it was 7, my guess is like 9.5. I could see 10.
Oof. I think we push past. I think we push through 10.
That's giving Trae Young a lot of credit, which I'm not saying that he shouldn't have it, but like that starts to put him into a very ridiculous tier of worth on a game by game basis that I don't know he can totally keep up with. Happy to be wrong. And we're about to find out in 5 minutes anyway. So
think about his replacement though.
Yeah, I agree. It's a gap. That's for sure. Especially over 40 minutes.
Yeah. 40 minutes of play from Trae Young. It was already a pretty significant spread, but this just absolutely throws everything for a loop. And good thing we've got plenty of time to talk about it. So let me know when you're in a position to start talking about strategy here. And thank you, Call Me Touch, for that super chat. He just said, wow, but appreciate you. Yeah. I'm guessing, I'll put it this way, Josh, definitely don't play Lou Williams. He's not good at basketball.
Yes, exactly. So all right. Well, I mean, let's talk through it on the fly.
I'm joking, by the way, in case anyone's just listening without looking.
I think this is a good example for us to let's talk it through. Where do these minutes go? Like I immediately right now, I've already started updating my depth chart. I went to 22 minutes for Lou Will.
Okay.
I think that we could potentially see a rotation of Chris Dunn, although he's not really the guy that you want Trae Young to be like replaced by. But if you're going to like a Bogdanovich, Herter, Gallo, Collins lineup, then I think that Dunn can work as like a facsimile one where he's just defending someone good on the other end, Drew or Middleton in that situation. So I think that we could see Chris Dunn. I think we kind of have to see Cam Reddish now. Just because, one, there's got a lot of minutes to go around. And it's not like Solomon Hill is the guy you want, or Tony Snell are the guys you want to throw like 10 more minutes on. You're not creating additional offense. You need offense here, not defense, I think.
You need both. I mean, but it's not like Trae Young was providing the defense. So yeah, you're right. You need offense. The thing too, though, is if you look at the rotations that we've been seeing, the only backup point guard for very obvious reasons, or the only other guard getting any legitimate minutes, you look at the bench last time, Solomon Hill, Danilo Gallinari, Okongwu, Lou Williams. He's the only one. So I guess how much do we see of these guys that haven't been playing at all? Like that's the big question here, right? I mean, yeah. When you look at Nate McMillan's rotation, Brian Goodwin was one of those guys. Okay. Right. That would have gotten some minutes.
That would be Brandon Goodwin. Brian Goodwin is the outfielder for what I believe was the Nats, and who the hell knows now.
I say it it's one I just can't get right. Mental block there.
Certainly do.
Can't get it right. But it is BR. Well, yeah, BR Goodwin. It's close enough. He was done for the season a while ago. Like, he's out anyway. There's just nothing here. I mean, is Skylar Mays did play 7 minutes in that blowout against Milwaukee. Like, he's been in the rotation for blowouts in 4 games. Listen, I know this sounds crazy, but you get a shorter bench in the postseason, and I'm not saying you play him, but he's played 4 different games, 3, 2, 1, and 7 minutes in those games, right? So there's that. And those have all been, I believe all of those have been blowouts or foul trouble games in some form or fashion. Chris Dunn has played in 2 games all postseason. So there are guys that have gotten in, but strictly for blowout run, and that is it. So with Lou Williams, if we're assuming now, let me lay this out for you and get your opinion on it. All right. We'll work through this. We're just going to work through this one together because
I think that's the better mechanism at this point in time, because
for sure. So bear with us, everybody. We're trying to work through this as a team. Also, we're like 5 likes away from 200. So if you can get us there, that'd be great. Thanks. I think Lou Williams plays a lot more than 22 minutes.
All right, so we went to 24 on the website, just FYI.
I could see him playing 30. How about this? Tell me why he can't or shouldn't.
I think that they can get more efficient and better offense elsewhere. And I think he brings too many defensive problems to be out there for that many minutes. I think you can get by in a different manner with Bogdanovich, since Bogdanovich played more minutes in the last game. He went 35. Gallo played 36. Herter played 36. If we're putting all of those guys around 38, Collins played 23. I think you have to go to that Gallo, Collins, Capella lineup a little bit more frequently now. I think you just sort of have to bet on the guys that are the best soaking up a lot of time. What does Lou bring to the table now?
He still brings scoring. He is still a type of player that can be instant offense, even at this age. The thing about these type of players, the Jamal Crawfords, the Lou Williams, they may just be kind of middling bench players at this point, but when they need to step up and get points, it's something they can do. Can
he?
Yes.
25% usage this year, 52% true shooting. That's a 22nd percentile outcome. Now he's getting the Bucks defense and Drew Holiday. I think he's a real problem today.
He's still a 41% free throw or 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Free throws would be bad. He's 88 from the stripe, 41% from the field on the year. I mean, these aren't exactly out of the league type numbers. And he played 18 minutes in a competitive game last time out. Now, mind you, Trae Young did not leave that game early. All right. So with that in mind, I think he left for a little bit, right? And then he came back in the second. He probably missed a couple minutes there, but that would be, if we give him 24 off, that would be 6 additional minutes of what he saw last game.
Yeah.
With Trae Young playing almost 40 minutes.
By the way, it doesn't even matter at this point for Lou Williams. He's an unquestioned good play now on DraftKings. This is the same situation as Boogie yesterday.
But agreed.
I don't want people to think like I'm shitting on Lou Will. He is going to be exceptionally owned on DraftKings, and I'm going to have a lot of him.
So just sad that you have to just like explicitly lay it out like that, but it's okay. No, what I think is it's more important for the rest of the bench because put it this way. Bogdanovich played 35 minutes last game, almost 36. Okay. He played 35 minutes last game. Cam Reddish, who was cleared to play, right, played 0 minutes last game. He played 17 minutes against Milwaukee in game 2. He didn't see the court last game, Josh.
No, he did not.
So if Reddish didn't play, just let me walk through this. And your alternative options are Lou Williams. Bogdanovich already played 35 minutes. Even if you give him 40 there, fine. And you give Reddish 15, like assuming he even gets back into the rotation, it feels like there's still a lot of room there. You can't play Skylar Mays like significant minutes. And by significant, I mean 15. Chris Dunn hasn't played anything but blowout, Ron. You might be right, by the way. I'm just saying, like, I feel like there's a real path for those minutes to get soaked up a lot more by Lou than we think.
Skylar Mays is a second-round draft pick that got picked 50th. If he sees the floor, like, kudos. I don't know what he's bringing to a Milwaukee Bucks defense that is going to break them down all that much. The only reason I don't mind Dunn is because you're expecting basically nothing from him offensively. And no matter how much he hasn't been playing, he's still an elite defensive player. So to me, they lean on that. The site went heavy on Solomon Hill up to 26 minutes. It feels like they would want to get Reddish part of that chunk just to get scoring. I mean, we're talking about having to replace 40 minutes of 34% usage. Like that's hard to do.
And like a 45% assist rate.
Yeah, that's really, really hard to do. Now, Reddish is not an assist guy. He doesn't do anything outside of, take shots if he can.
Bogdanovich would be the guy. He'd have to be.
It's Bogdanovich. It's actually, Kevin Huerter more so than Bogdanovich, oddly enough, but he's getting the minutes one way or the other. So to me, that doesn't really change anything. I bumped Lou Will now up to 24. I feel a little bit more comfortable there. Like 10 minutes for Cam Reddish. Does that sound insane?
I mean, Cody Cav said in chat, Cam Reddish is 100%. He'll get 25 minutes.
I don't think that's possible.
If last game was the one where he played 17 minutes, maybe we could make an argument there. The fact that he legitimately didn't touch the floor, didn't play in a competitive game is highly concerning. And I'll do you one better here, okay? Cam Reddish, the only reason he played last game, essentially, was because of a blowout. He got minutes to close out the second quarter, 5 minutes at that point. It was like a 30-point game. So let's just assume he would have played 5. He didn't come back in until the fourth quarter. Now, Josh, he didn't come in for like a normal bench rotation at the end of the first and into the second. He came in at the end of the second, right? And maybe McMillan was just trying to figure something out and it didn't work because things actually just got worse. Then his final 12 minutes, and he did have 11 points in those final 12 minutes, 11 points and a couple boards. They were the fourth quarter when they were down by 40 points. If that wasn't enough when he had that type of game, of course, against complete bench unit, like I'm talking legit scrubs for Milwaukee, not their normal bench, but the bottom of their bench, right? Justin Jackson, Sam Merrill, Dekite. Is it Dekite or Dekite? I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you.
Tecate? I don't know. I think Tecate is a beer.
Yeah, I don't know. Jeff Teague, Nora, Elijah Bryant. Those are the guys that were out there when Cam Reddish did his damage. Josh, he didn't come back he didn't play a single second in game 3. So yeah, what, 10, 12 minutes?
Yeah. So, I have him at 9 right now. Solomon Hill seems to be the sticking point for me. I just feel like Chris Dunn is more likely to pick up 6 minutes than Solomon Hill is to play 26 minutes. I don't know what you gain by putting Solomon Hill out there for mid-20s.
Diakite, thank you, K. Cork. Appreciate that.
But I also have no confidence, obviously, because they just ruled out their best player. So
I'm confused by some of the Reddish takes. Like, you could play 20 minutes, but there's no reason you can be confident in Cam Reddish playing 20 minutes. Zero. He played strictly blowout run in game 2. He hadn't played in 4 months and then didn't play in game 3. If you're projecting him for 20, 25 minutes, just explain to me where that's coming from, because you don't need additional wings here. You need guys that can handle the ball. And sure, if Bogdanović is going to start at point guard, maybe that's the case, then yeah, I think Reddish gets in the rotation. But the notion that in a must-win game, which is going to be very difficult to get, that he plays 20, 25 minutes, is it possible? Yeah. Is there any basis in like factual or logic but for that? There really isn't at this point. So
no. Wow. So with Trae Young and DeAndre Hunter off the floor just in the playoffs, obviously nobody's getting like a huge sample given how much Trae plays. Gallo's got a 25% usage rate. I believe he has 1 assist. Is that real?
In what, the series?
On 131 minutes with no Trae Young on the floor, Gallo has 2 assists. God, he doesn't do shit.
It's not that surprising. Like the guy,
no.
If you watch Danilo Gallinari play, it is very much not that type of player at all.
Oh no, I'm not surprised, but like, that's a lot lower than it just normally is in general. He is not, I mean, that's why he's leading the team in usage.
So who's the backup point guard? It's got to be Lou.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean Lou can't start. I don't necessarily think he will. You're going to need some offense injected off the bench. But even if he did start, you can just stagger his minutes with Bogdanović. Like I can't envision a situation where Lou and Bogdanović are off the floor, because then what does your offense look like? What does your backcourt look like if that's the case?
You're getting steamrolled when those guys start coming off the floor. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Bogdanović has a 9% assist rate, actually higher than I thought it would be on the season. But does anybody else become viable today would be the biggest thing. Like, is there anybody down here that becomes viable as a result of Trae Young being out?
I mean, a lot of guys just look a lot better. Like Solomon Hill by default just has to look better than he did before. I don't think that there's a huge change for Kevin Huerter. I think Bogdanović probably has to look a little bit better. Cam Reddish to me now is in play. I assume he's $1,000 on DraftKings. You feel free to correct.
I don't think he is. No, no. Cam Reddish is 4,800.
Okay, so he basically doesn't matter.
He's $2,000 more expensive than Lou Williams and $1,000 less than Gallinari.
I don't love it, but I think that I would be willing to take a GPP shot on Chris Dunn. I assume Chris Dunn is $1,000.
Yes.
Okay, so that's helpful at the very least.
And Lou's 2,800.
Yeah, so Lou Will is undoubtedly fantastic on DraftKings at this point. There's literally no way around that one.
He's the Cousins of yesterday. Yeah, we said it.
Slightly worse, but yes.
Well, at
least Cousins was flat mid.
That's a good point. But Lou Williams very likely to play well over double the minutes that Cousins played.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, granted, Cousins much better per minute guy, like very good per minute producer. I think 1.25. We talked about it last night. That's huge because in 10 to 13 minutes, you can still put up big games. And that's exactly what he did yesterday. But if Lou Williams is going to be on the floor, then that's all that matters. And like you said, I don't need to project him at 30 minutes, Josh. It's just not necessary because he's going to be in all of these lineups anyway. But I just keep coming back to the notion that if he doesn't get those minutes, it's going to be all of these wings picking them up and then Chris Dunn probably playing a decent amount. Like if you're only projecting Lou for 22, 24 minutes, how many are you going to give to Chris Dunn?
I gave Chris Dunn 6.
Okay. Do you have Skylar Mays in the rotation?
I do not. I think it goes to Dunn over Mays. I could be wrong there. I don't really have much to back it up. I just don't know how you put Skylar Mays out there in this particular game when it matters, when at least Chris Dunn does have a legitimate NBA skill to be out there.
Right.
But again, like that's a guess.
Yeah, there's really no certainty surrounding this. It's just kind of.
I'll say this much: I expect one of those guys to play.
They kind of have to, unless all of these minutes are consumed by Cam Reddish. Like if neither of those guys play, it's because Bogdanovich plays 40 at the 1. Lou Williams gets the backup point guard minutes and then some minutes at the 2, and Chris Dunn doesn't see the floor, but Cam Reddish fills in a lot of those additional shooting guard minutes. Like. That to me is the only other thing here. And it's funny because if you just look at the playoffs, you have a Trae Young with a 35% usage rate. The next highest is Lou Williams at 23. Well, Cam Reddish, but he's only played 17 minutes in blowout in garbage time. It's Lou Williams at 23%. Then you've got to come down to Bogdanovich at 20% usage, Gallinari at 19% usage. I mean, dude, there's nothing else there. And if you go to assist rate, Trae Young, 43% assist rate. Outside of that, Lou Williams, 22% is the next highest. You know what Bogdanovich's assist rate is in the postseason?
Not a lot.
11%.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody else. Bogdanovich can do it. We saw him do it in Sacramento, but I don't know how optimal it is. So,
by the way, line is 9 now.
That's it?
Well, I'd like to say that there was probably a half point to a point already baked into that 7.
That's actually probably pretty fair. I see it. I got it at 9.5. And quite frankly, I think 9.5 is. It's
8.5 at what you and I would agree is the best book that matters for this discussion.
The one that also hosts daily fantasy contests?
No.
Huh. We can't say you can't.
I don't know. I don't know what the rules are.
Well, just say it backwards or something.
Schminical.
Oh, yes. Yeah, of course. Right. I thought you were talking about like where I could actually get bets down because I can't get bets down there, but
yeah, it's 8.5 there right now. And that's generally like the industry consensus of the sharpest line.
Smash Strings is 9.5.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
Yeah, so that's
probably because it's a lot easier for people to just go and smash that and continue to move the line. That's a lot more public money.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're happy to take 9.5. Put it that way.
Yeah, but does 9.5 honestly seem like that much without Trae Young? I mean, I'm not laying 9.5 anyway, but
I mean, I would have been most likely to bet that like I would have taken them as double-digit wins with him in. So I like the Bucks on the line earlier today by quite a bit to begin with. By the way, oh, wow, man, I just lost a prop. That sucks. I had Trae Young over 8.5 assists on the breakfast menu, which you can watch Monday through Friday, by the way.
Yeah, check that out. Ben Rasa, Josh Engleman. That was actually one of the ones that I was going to throw out there later in the show as well. So we could pull some other ones up. Assuming that they've readjusted these props, hopefully we'll get them. Let's talk about the studs. We're going to come back to, and yeah, you didn't lose a prop. You just voided a prop.
Yeah, but like, you know, I still want it. I don't mean like I don't want it because it's obviously he's going to get 0, but like I wish I still had 3 props.
Hit the book up. See if they'll let you keep it. So, all right.
I'm sure they would.
Let's get into the studs here. All right. With Giannis at the top, already at the top. And as you saw from our Twitter handle today, Josh and I really think Giannis is a good play. Joking, of course. No, I'm not joking. Not joking, but play. I'm joking that you needed to know that because it's pretty obvious. It's evident at this point. Everybody knows that his ownership on DraftKings and is 82%, 35% in the captain. Have we gotten an update since the Trae Young?
Yeah, what's free today?
What's free today? Ownership projections for NBA and PGA Pro plays. Top golfers.
Keep your eyes peeled because they're about to be incredibly important over the next half hour.
Yeah, they are. We should have an update any minute now. I'm assuming there's a lot of adjustments to be made when you lose somebody like Trae Young. So it's not a 1 minute process or even 10-minute process.
No.
But we don't need ownership to know that Giannis is going to be insanely popular. And Josh, even let's just assume that he was already very popular. He's only going to be more popular now because you can play Lou Williams and you can play cheaper options. Even Solomon Hill becomes more appealing as a result of Trae Young's absence. And I'll do you one better. All of that captain spot ownership or otherwise that would have gone to Trae Young is now gone too. So it cuts both ways.
Yeah. He might be 95% in the MVP spot on FanDuel today.
Not owned.
Basically, you're saying, what are the odds that someone other than Giannis is the highest scorer today in this game? And you basically have two choices.
Holiday or Middleton.
Yeah. So his MVP spot status today is going to be truly bonkers. I'm running DraftKings now because that's where I'm playing tonight, but and it is done. I'm going to run FanDuel now after that. But I mean, this is going to be, the FanDuel numbers are just going to be preposterous.
They really are. But DraftKings, I think, gets a little bit interesting because, you know, we could even start looking at somebody like Bogdanovich, who I'm not excited about it. He is available to play, by the way. He really has not looked good, Josh. He's clearly not at 100%. At least I don't think he's at 100%. I haven't spoken to him. But 3 for 16 last game. He has not played well. He really hasn't. And he played 35 minutes, which is good. Maybe more ball handling responsibility will be helpful for us. But let's get through these studs first. Really, the only one being Giannis. But I kind of want to lump Middleton and Holiday into that conversation now because on DraftKings, at least, they're not that much cheaper than Trae Young.
No, not at all. So I just finished my DraftKings sim updates. I just want to get my crunch running in the background, and then we can actually talk about where I'm landing now. But it does look like my optimal has Lou Will at captain, if anybody's curious.
I don't hate that at all.
No, same. Okay, so here's what we've got.
Yeah,
this is where I stand.
Go ahead.
Giannis in the captain spot 47% of the time. He's in the optimal 92% of the time. That sounds about as right as it can be.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue it.
Now, Bogdanovich, Capella, Middleton, Holiday, Lou Will, all like in the 8-ish% range of being optimal captain. Lou Will now the second best play on the slate behind Giannis. I got him in the optimal basically 75% of the time.
Amazing. I can't wait to see what ownership looks like on Giannis on FanDuel right now.
I have Bogdanovich
here we go.
Third best play, by the way.
All right, without looking.
I haven't looked. Hold on, let me change the tab because I hit F5.
I will give you a hint. It's lower than you had it at.
I mean, he was I was higher on it before, so I'm guessing he's probably like right around 40.
53 in the MVP.
Oh, in the MVP?
Yeah. In the captain spot, he's pulling, let's see, 34%.
Okay, so that's stayed the same.
Let's see. Yeah. I don't think that's that crazy, though, because on DraftKings, there's still a lot of really good. And Jordan, we can move on to, we're already there, actually. There's still a lot of really good options there. Again, even someone like Bogdanovich, I know he hasn't played well. Totally understand that. Bogdanovich has not played well. He's been outright bad, as a matter of fact. Pretty sure he'd probably be out right now if it wasn't the postseason and the conference finals. But if he plays 40 minutes today, and I think it's a very realistic possibility that Bogdanovich plays 40 minutes today, Josh. If that's the case, his price is not that high. It's just a matter of what does the lineup look like around him? Like, is Bogdanovich in the captain spot? What do you have him in the optimal, by the way, right now with your updates? How often is he in the optimal?
64. We have his ownership at 56. So, I mean, that's like basically spot on. I'm a little bit higher at the captain spot. I think this all looks pretty normal for him.
How much in the captain do we have, Matt?
We have 8.7 and I have it at 10.4. So like, I mean, we're talking about basically the exact same number.
Yeah. I don't think that's crazy at all. So really it's if captain spot ownership is going to Giannis head and shoulders above everyone. And then Middleton and Holiday. this is but like Josh said, this ownership is free today. So if you want to follow along and check this out, please do. Go to awesemo.com, use the NBA drop down, and then under ownership projections, you got to go to Showdown single game. The ownership for captains going to Giannis, Tatum, and then Middleton, Holiday, and then Bogdanovic and Capella. Lou Williams captain spot ownership is very low right now, all things considered.
I agree with it, by the way.
Okay. But he's in your optimal as the captain?
Yeah.
All right. So what you're saying is that you would have him in the captain spot in the optimal, but then he would only be the captain in a handful of your lineups?
Yeah, 5.5% for me.
Okay. That's interesting.
It's just by putting him in the captain spot, it unlocks being able to have what I assume. Yeah. So Giannis, Middleton, Holiday, Capella, Bogdanovic. That's why he gets there in the optimal. By the way, he's only in the optimal by 0.3 of a point. The next one over is Giannis. Lou Will obviously in that lineup, but that turns Drew Holiday and Capella into Kevin Huerter and Gallo.
So what's the lineup with Giannis in it if you just go straight down it?
Giannis captain?
Yeah.
Giannis captain, Middleton, Huerter, Bogdanovic, Gallo, Lou Will.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Is that 5-1 Hawks?
4-2.
Oh, okay. I missed the Middleton. I'm sorry. You said Middleton. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any with Bogdanovic in there? What's the highest Bogdanovic captain lineup? Curious if it takes one of those cheaper players and turns it into a Drew Holiday or a.
Yeah, it does. It's my 6th lineup. Bogdanovic captain, obviously. Giannis, Middleton, Holiday, Gallo, Lou Will.
See, I like that.
Yeah, same.
That sounds pretty nice. It's just a matter of, can Bogdanovic do enough? If I told you tonight that Bogdanovic was playing 40 minutes, right? Like lock up 40 minutes, because I think it's a possibility, but we don't know.
He would rank higher.
That's what I'm saying, even though he hasn't been very good.
I gave him 36.
Okay. Yeah. 35 minute size game tells me that he's at least in a position to really start getting a lot of minutes. Who are your highest owned plays right now?
It's going to be Lou Will for sure. It's going to be Giannis for sure. Based on the rest of the ownership that I'm seeing, Capella is going to be pretty heavy for me. Those are probably like the 4 main guys that I'm seeing. Middleton and Holiday, yeah, but like I'm not like they're 60% owned in projected ownership. That's where I think they should be. I'm not like that's not a hot take or anything for me. I assume Giannis is in everything that I do. I assume Lou Will is basically in everything that I do.
Yeah. Where is this? Alex Hooper says, y'all were talking on the strategy show about inside the NBA, not knowing who plays for who. Chuck just said the Hawks should start Jeff Teague. That's awesome. Oh God, that's awesome. I'm not shocked by it either.
Chuck is like what would happen if you put YouTube chat into a human body.
Nah, most of YouTube chat is solid. Most of them listen. All right. So where are we at
I
here?
love 1,740 of you though, by the way.
What'd you say?
I love the 1,740 that are here. It's the other guys that aren't here today that we're talking about.
So yeah, we got 1,750 people watching on a single game slate. So I don't know. You can't hate us too much. Josh, speaking of, what needs to happen?
By the way, I've got Giannis at 67% in the MVP.
Okay.
So there's that. Wait.
No, I was setting you up with something earlier and you just powered straight through it.
Anyway. Oh, sorry. I had just gotten my update for FanDuel, which apparently I didn't even actually update. So there's that. I
was going to throw to you for the thumbs up since you're so good at it, right?
Oh, yeah, I can certainly do that. Just after I got done taking a steaming dump on top of YouTube chat. Perfect timing. We're at 360. Let's run that number north of 400. We're working hard here. We got Trae Young news in the middle of this bad boy, and we don't get a ton of news when we're on these shows. So reward us with thumbs up, or at least reward Laffy. I know you guys don't want to reward me, and that's fine. I don't really blame you in those situations because, I mean, look at what I was just saying. But reward Laffy. He didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, what a guy. Thanks in advance. And hey, subscribe as well. You guys know this too. If you're a member of Team Awesemo here.
Whoa, Lou Will starting.
Well, 30 minutes, baby. I'm telling you, bro, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It just makes sense.
I think he gets cooked.
He might, but the alternatives aren't much better.
Honestly, if I'm running, so Gallo is obviously the first guy off the bench. I think it's who's second then.
Well, this is the thing. I don't think earlier when I was saying if Lou starts, I don't think there's any minutes where him and Bogdanović are off the floor at the same time. And if they are, that would be really weird. Here's another Cousins comment. You people, man, go back. If that's the case, then Chris Dunn would have to get minutes because you're not playing Reddish or Herter at point.
I think you could play Herter.
You think so?
His assist rate is a lot higher than you think it is. And I don't mean that as like a...
What's it like, 18%?
It was higher than what I thought it was.
What's it,
so
18,
I assume.
18%?
I have it differently in my sheet.
Oh, yeah, you do it differently. That's right. Okay, well...
It was higher, like it's as high as Bogdanovic's as like a general number, which surprised me.
Yeah.
And Reddish is half of that.
I guess you could try. Is it Bogdanović Williams or Williams Bogdanović?
I mean, semantics?
Not really. Williams is technically
100%.
Williams is technically starting at the point.
Sure. That's not a real thing.
I don't think it's as much semantics tonight as you think.
There's no difference to those two discussions.
All right. What if it was listed Williams starting at center?
I would assume that it still didn't matter.
Okay. The rotation breakdown. I want to present something here, but before we do, shout out to our sponsor, No House Advantage. We talked about it yesterday.
Here's a good example today.
Here's another good example. Yesterday, the example was, oh, look at that. Paul George rebound prop is 9.5 and juice to the over everywhere. Well, it didn't change on No House Advantage. Sat at 8.5. He finished with 12. But more than that, DeAndre Ayton was at what, 9.5 or something?
Yeah.
11.5 everywhere else. 9.5 on No House Advantage. Sorry, 11.5 everywhere else. 9.5 on No House Advantage. Maybe even 10. He finished with 11. So the over didn't hit anywhere else, but it hit on No House Advantage because it doesn't change throughout the day, but it changed when the Zubats news broke and every book adjusted. Tonight is another perfect example. Use that to your advantage. Find the weak spots. It's a peer-to-peer player prop format where it's basically tournaments, GPPs, real cash money, just without salaries. But you're putting player props into a lineup. The ones up top that you're most confident in get the most points, and vice versa for the ones at the bottom. We got free tools at awesemo.com. The player prop tool specifically for Now's Advantage, free every day. The optimal lineup tool, all of that stuff. But man, is there any? Oh, and if you use the promo code Awesemo, AWESEMO, you get $20 deposit bonus on your first deposit. Is there any better time than the past 2 days to be playing there when you've got news like this and can take advantage of it?
No, you're immediately grabbing Lou Will over points or probably over assists, depending on which one you think actually looks better.
I'd take Bogdanović over assists too.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of pretty obvious stuff to take from Atlanta. That much I can tell you. Oh, man. By the way, you said take advantage before, which is just great. We got to figure out a way to like work that in there.
Oh, like take advantage of No House Advantage?
Yeah, so there's something there. I don't know what it is yet.
Figure something out. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've created something for everything else. And, you know, this one's solid. But go check it out. Awesemo is the promo code to get $20 on first deposit bonus. And you can download it in the what's that? Oh, it's all users. So even if you're an existing user. Oh, thank you, Jordan Klein, producer of the Live Before Lock show. all users get a $20 deposit bonus if they deposit whatever today, whether you're new or existing. That's pretty cool. Download it in the App Store. Go to nohouseadvantage.com, download it in Google Play, whatever, and use that promo code. Check it out. Take advantage of that. All right. Josh, as we move forward here, and if Jordan, if you see anyone putting fake NBA news in here, just get them. I like Carlos Manza a lot, but bro, you got to chill on that. That's no bueno. All right.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, we're okay. You already got him. I was gonna say, let's go ahead and give him a 5-minute break and let him learn a lesson.
Yeah, we can't be doing that. People we're up against it. If this was the deeper dive, I'd probably care a little bit less, but because it's live before live, we're up against it right now. Josh, here's what I wanted to ask you. If this game does devolve into a blowout, right? Let's say it develops into a blowout. Now, I'm not saying that it will. Crazier things have happened. The Hawks have clawed out of some pretty tough spots. But if that's the case, I know he said he was kidding, but yeah, it was clearly an attempt to. If this is a blowout, is there anyone that really benefits? Like, because your primary bench guys actually get hurt the most, right? Because they'll lose most of their second half rotation. Is there anyone that gets enough minutes to where you're willing to actually give them a look?
No. Like, yes, if it's like the minutes are kind of a problem, but like if Reddish plays a rotation at the end of the first quarter and like the beginning of the second quarter, and then plays all of the fourth quarter because this game is over.
So like I think that's basically.
I think that's the mechanism where you can get there. But we're at a point now where because of Lou Will being cheap and a value play, the value of unlocking a $1,000 guy is a lot lower now because you can already get the 3 main bucks without very little effort. So I'm not entirely sure this really opens up much for a bench guy. It would require Lou Will to bust.
Right. And it would end up being a Chris Dunn or somebody like that.
Yeah.
The problem is once you dig deep enough into a bench, think of this too. This will be the 3rd loss in a row for the Hawks. So my guess is McMillan's going to leave them out there for as long as possible, not nearly as long or much longer than he did in game 2. So even if you're down by a lot of points, I think he still runs his starters a lot longer, and you don't see bench guys that bench guys that essentially never get minutes at all playing 18 minutes, Josh. I don't see that being the case at all tonight.
No, Okongwu fits that same mechanism as Reddish, where he could play his normal rotation early and then play the entire fourth quarter if it's a problem. Holy balls.
What's that?
Now I'm just like looking at my exposures and stuff. It's a lot. The guy that I'm most I want to say this right now. I want to make sure this gets out. The guy that I'm most nervous about now is Brook Lopez, because I think he can play more if he needs to, because Trae Young and Lou Will are, the same, but obviously a gigantic step down. And I think the drop coverage for Brook Lopez is much less of a problem in this scenario now than it was before. I just don't think it's super necessary, because I could also say the same thing about Bobby Portis. There you go. Bobby Portis's bad defense means a lot less now than it would have before. So I'm a little nervous about Brook Lopez. I am not getting him at all, and I'm not comfortable with that.
Earlier in the day, fair enough. Earlier in the day, and this is, let's talk a little bit about some punts here that we haven't talked about, and then we'll give off the favorite value plays. Earlier in the day, we talked about PJ Tucker, right? Begrudgingly, right? But here he is. You might have to play PJ Tucker. Bobby Portis being another one. Great per minute guy. He's played 15, 18, and 17 minutes in this series, which is, more than enough to get by. Price isn't particularly cheap, but it's also not expensive. How much less exposure do you have to guys like that? Pat Connaughton being another example now than you did earlier in the day, now that we got this Trae Young news?
I don't have Connaughton. I basically don't have Portis. I don't have Lopez. I do still have PJ Tucker. But like, I'm just getting to a ton of everybody obvious. Bogdanovich, Capella, Gallo, Giannis, Holiday, Herter, Middleton, Lou Will. I mean, these guys are in 50+% of my lineups. Which,
what about Solomon Hill?
I have 22%.
Maybe he'll take a shot this game.
I hope so. If he's 22%.
Him and PJ Tucker in the same game is always remarkable, right? They could play 30 minutes each and combine for 2 field goal attempts.
I'm in the, I have the data in my sheet right now for the $4 on DK, which yesterday had 35,000 people in it. So I'm just going with that assumption. If that's the case, my top lineup is expected to be duped 186 times.
Wow. That's the top lineup that you already mentioned earlier.
No.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That was the optimal lineup earlier. Yeah. This is okay. Yeah.
My let's see if I can find it. I have my optimal projected to be duped. Interesting. Only 38 times.
38 times? That's not bad.
Yeah. Which doesn't super surprise me because Lou Will at captain is only 5% owned. So you're immediately removing like a large swath of dupes.
Reacham says, look back at the game the Bucks and Hawks had in April with no Trae Young. You're welcome.
I wouldn't look at that ever.
I would very much avoid looking at that game. Yeah. It was a late regular season game without Trae Young, a legitimately expanded bench rotation, and a much different looking rotation that you're seeing now. I would caution you that there's no way Lou Williams, I couldn't tell you how many minutes Lou Williams played. I'm assuming it wasn't a ton, but there's no reason to give, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like Lou Williams, a ton of minutes in a game like that. I would caution against looking at those types of games. Regular season to postseason does not translate well. Especially when your top player is out and you're actually running a deep bench.
Yeah, I would not look at that at all. I find that to be fully useless.
Yeah. Actually, I would consider it a detriment.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, if I would guess that neither coach has any idea what happened in that game.
No, I would imagine. I can't imagine. Like, so this is what we did a couple months ago. I don't know.
Yeah, in a throwaway game.
Who are your favorite value plays?
Okay.
Obviously, Lou Williams.
Yes, Lou Will pretty clearly at the top of that heap. Let's see. So I don't really have one. I mean, Solomon Hill, I guess, at 1,200, and Lou Will are my. Solomon Hill, Lou Will, and PJ Tucker. Blech.
Sweet.
What goes wrong there, you know?
Pretty much everything.
Nope.
Bogdanovich isn't really a value play, but he's also not that expensive either. So he's not a value play, but he's definitely one of the lower mid-range options. And I did want to ask you about the Collins and Capellas. You already got to Brook Lopez, but Kevin Herter too. We hit on the studs. We hit on the cheap guys. Let's close out just the overall analysis, and then we can take your questions. If you're a premium member over at Slack, obviously we'll get to you first. If you want to become a premium member, go to awesemo.com/join, get access to ownership, player projections, top stack tool, the boom bust tool. You can get the Fantasy Cruncher add-on, everything we have to offer, all of our premium articles for, all of our premium tools, as a matter of fact, ownership projections, everything for basketball, baseball, football, hockey, PGA, NASCAR, MMA, everything, you name it. If they have contests on these sites, we have content for it. Everything built by Alex Baker, used by him as well. Awesemo himself, #1 ranked DFS player, to win a lot of money using those very tools. So check it out. You see the Awesemo logos up there in the Hall of Fame segment for a reason. We like to brag for the winners here, but also show you that these tools are legitimate and they work. T.O. Deck, I think, would agree.
Yeah, I think he would. Do you remember his name? You don't.
Yeah.
Just say no. Just say no.
Yeah. Yeah. I do.
This is like ad hominem this morning, man.
I do. I remember it was SF. It was S Farming. Nailed it.
Yeah. What's his name? I didn't ask you what his FanDuel handle was.
His first name is S. dot last name Farming. What was his first name?
I don't know, but it ends in deck.
Oh, you don't even know.
No, I don't have a clue. Much like ad hominem, I told you.
Gotcha. Anyway, check it out, awesemo.com/join. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter. My DMs are open. And obviously, join the Slack chat. A great community, but also premium office hours where you got the pros from Awesemo answering your questions and helping you out along the way. Sadek is what Rosso says. So you're probably right. All right, guys, this is what I want to do. What I was saying is if you're a premium member on site or you are a team member here in the Awesemo YouTube, we'll hit on your questions first because it's only fair. You've supported us. We support you. Cash game and tournaments. The biggest difference in cash games and tournaments today is what?
I mean, honestly, at this point, I think they end up looking super duper similar. God, I can't even imagine what has to happen for like a solo ship today in one of the bigger contests, because the guys that are chalky are aggressively chalky for a reason. To me, they're good chalk, whether that's Giannis, obviously, Lou Will now, obviously, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. These guys are picking up massive ownership, should be in cash lineups and should be heavily rostered in GPP lineups. So to me, the overlap is heavy depending on what you're trying to do. If you're looking to be different, I think if we're projecting Brook Lopez at 18% ownership, that is viable. I don't like Solomon Hill at 14% ownership, Tucker at 15. I think those three guys open up a little bit where one of them could be ultra relevant and minimize duplications, but we have so many guys: Bogdanovich, Giannis, Drew, Middleton, Lou Will, all five of those guys at Capella. 6 of those guys are 50% or more in ownership right now. So I think that a cash lineup and a GPP lineup look pretty similar unless you're willing to take some chances that don't feel comfortable, more so than usual.
We had a couple super chats earlier that I may have missed. Thanks, Jordan. Double R says, who sees the biggest usage bump? And when you downgrade Capella with the Trae news, it's actually a really interesting question on Capella because everything is basically a lob from Trae Young to Capella, but he hasn't been really scoring anyway. So no, I wouldn't. Lou Williams is still very capable of doing so. Good example of that would be his relationship with Montrezl Harrell with the LA Clippers. You knew I was going there, right?
Yeah.
His relationship with Montrezl Harrell, when one of them would be out, the other would really struggle. And obviously they both played off the bench together, and it was just straight lobs, pick and roll, and they worked great together. Do I worry that you could see something like that with Trae and Capella? Not really, because Lou Williams is actually pretty decent at getting his bigs the ball, so that doesn't concern me. Who sees the biggest? What were you going to say?
So you know Josh Lloyd, right?
Yes.
Fantasy guy. So we are both in the same B-ball index.
Lives in Australia.
Yes, we are both in the same B-ball index player profiles. It's a Google doc that breaks down individual players. But he's on player profile 1, and I was trying to figure out what he was doing. His last search was Isak Bonga. I don't know what the hell that man is doing at 823 right now, but for some reason, Bonga is his most recent search.
That is odd.
I could you gave me 1,000 guesses. I don't land on Bonga.
No, the man's dedicated. Who gets the biggest usage bump? Asks Double R as well.
Danilo Gallinari.
Yeah,
I think so. Because I don't like Lou Will just already has it. Yeah,
Bogdanovich too. I think
Bogdanovich with no Trae Young on the floor and no DeAndre Hunter, 22.5% usage rate this season. Gallo was 25.
Okay. Yeah, but Gallo also got a ton of those minutes off the bench. Just to consider that, I would imagine those bench minutes are a little easier to come by. Gabriel Mafrin, is this a Kavan game?
It's not one.
No.
I mean, I got him in 50% of my lineups, 10% of the time at captain. So I guess it is to me.
All right.
But they only have so many guys that can play 36 plus minutes. All of those guys are really good plays today.
Right. Hey, we still have 1,600 people watching. We're almost at 500. That would be a huge milestone. We did hit it yesterday because you guys are great, but 59 away. If you forgot to do it earlier, we won't hold it against you. Just before you head out, give it a little love tap. Show some love here on the Live Before Lock. We're putting in the work, Josh, scrambling to get that good content out there. We will close this out with some top props and questions from Slack. My top prop was Trae Young over 8.5 assists as well. But give me one that you really like for today. And of course, check it all out at oddshopper.com where you can search every single book and all props. And it's you want to win sustainably, shop around books, use a bet tracker, you set a watch list and be able to figure out where the best odds are every given day. Oddshopper.com, totally free. I urge you to check that out. You will appreciate it. I promise. What do you got?
I'm going to give you my third prop from the breakfast menu for today. And it has gotten better. Given the makeup of the prop. So it is Giannis to double-double along with the Bucks winning the game. And obviously the Bucks to win that game is significantly better on the money line at this point.
I'm glad you brought that up because there is a book today that is giving an odds boost on a Giannis double-double from -500 to even money, Josh.
I think it's better than even money, obviously. So go ahead and grab that.
I hit the Ben Simmons double-double plus win against the Hawks early against the Hawks at like plus 380 or something.
Points plus missed free throws?
Yeah, right. But yeah, seriously, there's a limit. There's a relatively low limit on it, but
still free money.
What'd you say?
It's still free money.
Careful there, pal. Never free money.
I mean,
Giannis in this series has been.
It is free money. That individual bet isn't, but every one of those is like a gigantically plus EV bet.
Oh, I got what you're saying. Yes, of course. Like you just take that. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. You take it blindly.
Is it worth playing the big 3 in FanDuel cash from King Dash?
I imagine it is absolutely necessary.
Okay. I also like Giannis over 5.5 assists tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if he doubled on assists, but of course you're going for the points, rebounds, assists. You can get that at 5.5 assists. I can appreciate that quite a bit. We have him projected over that around 6.5. So that's nice. 59% expected win probability. Let's rip through some of these comments from our premium chat. Josh, rapid fire here. Azori, Herter or Capella on DraftKings?
I have more Capella. So Capella.
Who gets the holiday defense now? Asked Jets World. It's probably going to be Lou.
Probably. I don't think it's necessary. It wouldn't shock me if it was Bogdanovich.
Okay.
I don't think it matters.
Would you do any groups for the Hawks on Fantasy Cruncher? Asks Larry.
No, I don't really sweat it too much in a single game situation.
Okay. We got anything else here? Let's see. Do you play less lineups or more taking advantage of the unknown today? Well, no, you don't play less. You don't play more. You just do what you're doing. Portis or Tucker at the flex, Josh? This is the last one, and then we'll head out.
Tucker.
All right. Any final thoughts before we go ahead?
My optimal lineup on FanDuel, since people were asking: Giannis, MVP, Holiday Star, Capella Pro, Gallo utility, Bogdanovich utility. So not all 3 Bucks.
All right. Hey, good luck to you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks, Mock Wall. Appreciate that comment. We'll see you back here tomorrow because we have a game because the Clippers pushed it to 6. I wouldn't be surprised if they take it to 7 and win this series. It's crazy, right? I know, but they are a resilient basketball team, and Paul George has come into his own of late. Good luck. Win some money. We'll catch you back here tomorrow on the Live Before Lock show presented by No House Advantage. Peace.